With your knees wide enough for your torso to travel between and your ankles slightly in front of your knees, posture up. The progression is from high reps, body weight only, to dumbbell loading, but thinking about retracting your shoulder blades, which locks in the stretch on the inner thighs while giving you more room to move and putting your lower back in a better position to get stronger. Then as I progress you to barbell, you'll use an incline bench to safely measure your mobility progress. Progressing to a standard of flat bench, abs to bench without the lower back rounding, with 2/3 of your body weight for 12 reps. The why behind this is that in cultures where we stop resting in deep squats, those inner thighs can get really tight. And then if we don't train the lower back in these positions, we can become really stiff. Our lower back can be vulnerable, even if it's strong because of the lack of mobility. Or maybe you have the mobility, but you need to get your back stronger. Either way, I consider this the ATG lower back foundation because it's the exercise that trains the strength of the lower back in a position where your torso is closer to your thighs than any other. So I find that improvement on the seated good morning translates to improvement in every other back exercise from that point. And the context is that this is just one of 20 exercises. This in itself is not a magical exercise. Already earlier in this session, I was working near opposites, strength through length for the hip flexors with the ATG split squat, strengthening the quads through a full range of motion. You start putting these things together, and people like me who thought we were destined to be fragile, pathetic athletes are experiencing life now more bulletproof and athletic than the norm. This is a culmination of my work at my in-person gym before you ever saw me on YouTube, before the pandemic hit. We had 20 ATG standards based on working with hundreds of athletes and trying to figure out how do we become more bulletproof and athletic than the norm, even if our genetics suck. Then the pandemic hit. You saw me rebuild the ATG system from nothing, literally no equipment. That became knee ability 0 and now back ability 0. Then right around the time of dense, I made this YouTube channel where I was working with minimal things from the yard, like how do you start rebuilding the body with just, let's say, a dumbbell and a slant board, things of that nature. Then from the yard, we progressed back to standards with simple equipment. This is a $110 bench off Amazon, basic squat rack, things of this nature. Yes, there's some unusual tools. It's pretty cool looking back. Things like tib bars didn't even exist when the standards program originally was around. So if that seems tedious, we were having to attach weights to our feet and then measure that way. It was very tedious. Now we've built back. ATG HQ exists again, a beautiful gym with all our awesome tools that make it so easy, almost too easy, to do the ATG system. So I realized that to stay true to the journey, I started here on YouTube with you guys from my yard. I need to keep my ass in the yard, in the trenches, and balance it. So it might not be exact, but I'm aiming for like one video from the yard, one video from HQ, because a lot of good has come from the yard, being alone with my own thoughts and all these observations, and then trying to give you the most pure, precise education that I can. We also have our own app now, which we didn't have back then, thanks to Caleb, one of our original ATG online members who reached out and said he could design something much better for us. He did. So if you want to do a program like standards, you can send in your own form video right through the app, have us coach it under 24 hours, answer any questions you have under 24 hours, $49.50 a month, no long-term contract, customer service under 24 hours. So thanks to everyone who has now led to ATG being a group around the world. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it helps.